welcome to this edition of Berkshire Matters. I'm Bob Dean, and I'm your host for today's show. And today, we're going to be talking with Berkshire Community Action Council about two of the great programs that they offer this time of year, fuel assistance, and their free tax preparation program. With us today are Aleta Moncecchi, who is the Deputy Director of Berkshire Community Action Council, and Stephanie Bosley, who is the Director of Community Partnerships. Welcome to both of you.
Thanks for having us, Bob.
Thanks, Always Bob. Glad to have you guys on and to talk about all the good stuff that you guys do. So let's start briefly with the free tax preparation, because it sounds too good to be true. And then we're going to talk about fuel assistance. So Stephanie, tell us about the program. First of all, is it really free?
It is really free. Okay. It's free for, you qualify if you make $57,000 or less a year. If you are a person with disabilities, or if you're a limited English-speaking taxpayer. And the program is run through the IRS. So it's completely legitimate. All of our volunteers have to get IRS certified and go through a host of tests and things like that to obtain their certifications, and they have to renew those certifications. So you're in good hands with our tax volunteers. And this is a program that we typically would have appointments, and we would schedule people to come into our offices and sit down with a tax preparer. Unfortunately, because of COVID-19, we're still not meeting with clients face-to-face. So this year we're going to be doing a drop-off system so that interested people could drop their taxes off to our offices. And in Pittsfield, we're also offering a virtual VITA where clients can upload their tax documents through a secure encrypted system. So all of your information is completely secure, and they can do so by a phone, tablet, computer, and have our tax preparers prepare the taxes that way.
So last year, you were kind of right in the middle or the beginning of the free tax preparation season when COVID hit. So you already have experience doing it the way you just described.
Yes. Yeah. So we were, tax season starts at the end of January. And then in the middle of March, COVID-19 really hit. So we had to kind of pivot the way that we were doing things, but we have great volunteers and we have great staff, and we are able to do so.
So your volunteer tax preparers, and I know some of them just from working with them and working with this program, they've been doing this for years. So they're very seasoned. And as you said, each year they get recertified. So if there's any new things with the tax code or any new things with the processing, they're up to date, they're current, etc.
They are, and each tax preparation gets quality reviewed by a second person. So there's two eyes that are going to be looking at your tax returns, making sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and that you're getting, the best return that you can.
And these returns are filed electronically, so they're filed just as quickly as if someone went to a paid tax preparer. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Okay. And Aleta, you oversee this program up in the North Adams, North County area. Is that correct?
True. And we'll be doing it the same way as far as being able to drop your paperwork off. We're going to start calling people in the next couple of weeks. As soon as Paula gives us the okay, and we're going to tell them what we need and what to drop off. And we're also going to have a copier outside of our office so that if anyone needs to make copies, because we're going to need their Social Security card, their picture ID, we will have a copier available as long as we're open.
Okay, and we'll be showing the numbers on the screen for both the Pittsfield South County and the North County programs, so people can call with questions, and we'll also have the website up so that people can go to the website and can see what's up. But I think really the message is that this is a great program. It is free. It's $50,000 of earned income or less, and is that for an individual or a family? Is it that same amount if there's a family involved with two earners, or how's that work, Stephanie?
So it's $57,000 per person. I'm not sure. I should have looked it up but I'm not sure what it would be for a family, if it's still that 57,000 or if it's different.
Okay.
But if you're listening to this and you're not sure and you want more information, you can definitely call our offices and we're happy to look into that for you. And one thing that I wanted to mention as well is that we can serve the immigrant community. I know that we talked about an SSN and a photo ID. We would take an ITIN card.
Great.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Awesome. So we're going to come back and talk a little more about the free tax program, but I want to make sure that we have time to talk about one of my all-time favorite programs with one of my all-time favorite people. And that's the Heating Fuel Assistance Program. So tell us, Aleta, first of all, let's start with, where should we start? The program is open and accepting applications, right?
We're open. We've mailed out applications. We've just sent out letters to people that have not applied, that have applied in the past.
Okay.
Anyone that needs to apply, just call the number. We are very quick this year, Bob. You don't have to wait 3 weeks for an appointment. Everything's done over the phone. We're getting you in that same day, starting the process. So I have to tell you, we are, with new people, we're right up to date. So every day we've done the day before, so nobody's waiting a couple weeks to get in.
So you mean the new applications?
People that have never applied before, everything's done over the phone. So that's something new from last year, because COVID was halfway through the year. We were seeing people come through the door. So with that being said, anyone can apply for fuel, even if you think you're over, and I'll give you the guidelines, because it's our job to send you over to the Good Neighbor Fund if you're over our guidelines. And their guidelines start where ours end and go up another $10,000.
Okay. So an individual can have an income, if I read it correctly, of $39,000. You can make $39,000 and be a household of one and still potentially be eligible for the program?
$39,105 for a single person, yes.
Okay.
They'll be eligible for the program. And what the programs...
You go ahead.
What the program will offer is not only are we going to help pay for your main source of heat, we're also going to get you on the discounted rate for the electric, discounted rate for the gas. Those things add up. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so even though the deadline for the program to apply is in April, what's the day in April? The last day to apply?
April 30th is the last day to apply.
Okay. So somebody can wait until then and apply and still potentially get the same amount of fuel assistance, but they'll miss out on the other things you just mentioned because they would want to apply right away and start getting that utility discount right away, and they would want to be eligible in case they do need a furnace repair or replacement, correct?
That's probably, I'm glad you brought that up. So it's very difficult with our seniors to get them on fuel assistance. They always feel like they're going to be taken from somebody, and that's not true.
Yeah.
But if you own your own home and you're eligible for fuel assistance, as long as we have funds available, if your furnace breaks, we send somebody out there to look at it. So that, I mean, that's great right there in itself, because a furnace will cost you over $5,000.
Oh yeah, yeah.
To replace.
But you have to be on the fuel assistance program to be eligible for those other programs. This is the gateway into those other programs.
That's true, except for I think the energy audit is a little different. That program there, I think as long as you're on the discounted rate, but we're going to try to get you to apply for a fuel, which is only to help you.
Okay, so what types of fuel does the program help to pay for?
Whatever your main source of heat is, whether that's oil, gas, kerosene, it could be wood pellets, however you heat your house.
Okay, so I have here that a two-family household, if their income is $51,000 or less, they could be eligible. Three-person, if it's $63,000 or less, they could be eligible, and it continues to go up based on the household size. So to me, it's a very generous eligibility threshold, and it covers, as you just said, whatever the primary source of heating is. It doesn't pay for all of the fuel, but it'll pay for a part of it based on income, household size, et cetera, et cetera. Certainly every little bit or every lot of it helps. Some people can get $500, $1,000, right?
True. It depends on where you fall on the scale. Plus, I mean, even if you're on unemployment, we don't count. Yeah. We count what you'd make on unemployment, not the extra $300 or before it was the $600. So if you don't think you're eligible, my recommendation is apply, because it's our job to try to help you through that process. Or if you're not eligible for our program, we'll be able to send you someplace that you would be eligible. So even if you think you might be a little over those guidelines, definitely apply. Right now, people are struggling. They've lost their jobs.
Yeah.
Things are different. So we're seeing a lot of people that don't normally apply for fuel assistance, and that's great.
And I think it's an important message, what you said, Aleta, is that BCAC looks to have a big door, a wide doorway, and to include and to serve as much as possible. So even if someone isn't eligible for one of BCAC's programs, BCAC will still help them in whatever ways they can and will refer, et cetera. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you, when we're talking about income, are we talking about income for the year 2020? Are we talking about income for the last 12 months when somebody applies? Are we talking about the last 4 weeks?
With COVID, we're looking at the last 30 days because things are much different for people. I mean, a year ago, they could have been working full-time. Even 3 months ago, they could have had a job. Yeah. We're looking at your last 30 days of your income.
Unless if you went back farther, the income would be lower over a 12-month period. You're looking basically at what will make the person eligible or the family eligible based on the guidelines of the program. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say. We're looking at what their true income will be.
Yeah. So in other words, if a family of two made over 80,000 but no longer are working due to COVID, you're going to look at what's happening now, not what it would have been from, say, January through September at $80,000.
We always look at your last 30 days. That's where we start. It's always your last 30 days. And then if you tell us, you know, I worked a lot of overtime, you know, that's not my true income, that's when we'll kind of look at some different options.
Okay. Can you also tell us again, because I think this is really important, when people are unemployment counts, that basic unemployment, weekly unemployment that people were getting, but when people were getting that extra 600 or now 300, that will not count towards their income for fuel assistance. Is that
the extra
correct?
$600, the stimulus money did not count.
Okay. So the most recent stimulus money will not count. What about that when people were getting that 600 or 300 a week? That does not count.
We look at what their unemployment, the amount that they'll get weekly. So
the basic amount.
The basic amount.
Okay. Okay. And again, I think it's, you know, because I'm confusing myself as I'm talking here. It's important for people to not rule themselves out, to call you, to give you the information so that you guys can look at it and you can make the determination. No one should rule themselves out because there are moving parts here. And again, the goal of BCAC is to help serve people.
Our job is to prevent anybody from freezing to death. I mean, that's for LIHEAP fuel assistance. So we're looking at the whole picture.
Okay. And for those seniors or for anyone who thinks that they shouldn't apply because they're going to be taking someone else's spot, that is not the case. There is money that's been allocated, and we actually want to spend all of this money here in Berkshire County. Is that fair to say?
That's a fair statement. And we want to make sure that we're helping everybody in Berkshire County that needs to have some sort of assistance and protect you in case your furnace 3 months down the line breaks down.
Okay, so when
if
someone
anything,
is
sorry, Bob, but I just want to kind of drive this point home that if anything, by getting our services, you're helping ensure that your neighbor will be able to get our services too, because the more that we can show that there's a need for these services, the more funding that we're going to receive and the more people that we can help. So please, if you even think that you might be eligible for our programs, contact us and apply.
Yeah, well said. Thank you, Steph, for interjecting there, because that's a very important point. We're, in a way, you're looking out for your fellow neighbors here in Berkshire County by using this program, utilizing this program. I wanted to ask you about, we talked about the types of fuel. So even if someone heats with coal or with pellets or with wood, the program can cover that. And you mentioned a little bit, but I want you to talk about it again, if you could, Aleta, the types of housing situations that are covered, owner, renter, et cetera.
Certainly. Landlords are eligible, tenants. The only time you would not be eligible is when your heat's included in your rent and it's based on 30 or 32% of your income. So if your heat's included in your rent and you're paying full rent, please apply. If your heat's included in your rent and you're paying 50%, apply. I say apply and then let us look at it. But the only
Okay.
time you would not be eligible is if it was based on 30 or 32% of your income. And your heat was included, so you're not paying for heat.
So my takeaway from that is that in certain situations, people who are have heat included in their rent, they also could be eligible for the program in certain situations. So they should call you to find out if they are.
Certainly, and they would receive a check at the end of the program, which would help them pay for another month's rent. So yes, there's heat included. We pay for it, whatever your main source of heat, and we help landlords too. A landlord could be eligible for the program.
Tell me how that would work.
So if the landlord lived in a two-family home and they lived on one side and somebody lived on the other side, it's based on his income, including the rent that he receives from the other side. But he may be eligible for fuel assistance and his tenant may be eligible on two different applications.
Okay. And again,
just don't rule yourself out.
Yes, I love that. Don't rule yourself out. Okay. Anything else we need to talk about right now about fuel assistance? Because I want to hear a little more about the free tax prep program. Is there anything else that you...
I think that if you think you may be eligible, please call today. There's somebody there that'll pick up the phone and they'll start the process with you.
Okay.
Don't be worried with COVID. We're not going to ask you to come into the office. Everything's going to be done over the phone. You can mail your stuff in. We're going to call you by phone or send something in the mail. So there's no contact at all. We do not have any locations outside of the office doing fuel this year because of COVID. So it's only going to be done within our offices, if that makes sense. We used to have senior centers and different places that would start the fuel app. We do not have that this year because we do not want people in danger.
Okay. And again, the numbers should be scrolling for both the North Adams and the Pittsfield locations for people to give you a call. And then there's that number that tell us about that. 1-866-216-6200. That is a 24-hour-a-day phone number. And if you want to know anything about your fuel app, did we make any payments? Are you eligible? What are you eligible for? If you call that number, it'll prompt you to put in your social security number and it'll tell you anything you want to know about your fuel application. You won't have to wait till we're open. You won't have to wait for a secretary. That information 24 hours a day. That's once you submit your application, that's the purpose of that line. That's not an emergency line if somebody's out of heat or anything like that. That's a line for people once they've submitted their application to get an update.
To get an update or to see if we made any payments, that type of situation.
Okay, so when you say to see if you made any payments, in many cases, most of the case, perhaps the payment goes directly to the fuel vendor?
Correct.
Okay.
Goes right to the vendor. The only time that we would make a payment would be as if a heat was included at the end of the season. We would pay the client. The client would get a check based on whatever the calculation would be. Okay.
But someone could call this line and they could say they've been authorized or approved for $650 and that's been paid to whoever their oil company is, kind of thing. That's how, great.
The only thing we will not do is once you apply for fuel assistance and you have a vendor, and we will not switch vendors halfway through the season unless you've moved. But if you're still in the same location, we have like 10,000 clients. We don't let you switch vendors until the season's over because that's already in the system. That's something good to know.
Okay, that's very good to know. All right, now we're going to shift and go back and talk a little bit about the free tax program. You ready, Steph?
I'm ready, and Aleta can hop in too.
So what about that stimulus money or that extra $600 or $300 for income? That would count towards income for the tax preparation purposes? Is that correct?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So there's two different things here. While it may not count with the fuel guidelines, it counts as income for tax purposes.
I believe so.
Okay.
That's a question that I don't think either one of us can answer right now. I don't think besides the tax preparers.
Yeah. Okay.
But we don't really know what that answer is yet, but we will.
Okay. Right. And I think, thank you. That's a great point that you may not know at this particular moment, but you certainly will know as you're beginning to prepare the taxes. And also probably that would be on whatever statement the unemployed individual gets from unemployment. It would say what their income was, I would think. But anyway.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And like fuel assistance, if you're near that income threshold, you're not sure or something, just call us and make an appointment, talk with one of our tax preparers. They go through trainings and certifications every year. So they're the most up to date on information that's available. And one thing I'll say too, with the stimulus payments, folks might remember that in the last round of stimulus payments, they went off of kind of your previous year's income for to get your tax return. So like if you used a bank to get your return, your stimulus was put into that bank account.
Okay.
Am I making sense? Yes. So you want to make sure that you're getting your taxes done this year in case there's more stimulus. You still were able to get your stimulus if you didn't complete your taxes, but just to make the process easier and make sure that you're getting your money quicker, you want to make sure that all of that information is up to date.
So when somebody files their return with you, they can have the return, the dollar amount, directly deposited into their account, correct?
Yep. Yeah, they can provide their banking information and it'll be directly deposited. Just like if you were to go to a paid service.
Yes, except you don't.
E-file too.
I'm sorry, Aleta, what's that?
The e-file. So we're just as quick.
Okay, and it's federal and state that the program does.
It is.
And what type of tax returns can you not do? I know you can do the basic ones, and I think you can do some self-employed if you've done the person in the past, but the more complicated ones you probably cannot do. It's outside the program's guidelines, but again, probably we would want people to give you guys a call.
I would definitely call because I think Pittsfield has a little different than North Adams. North Adams, we work with Paula and the college and some of the professors. So it depends upon what they're comfortable with too. But I do believe Pittsfield, you guys do a lot of self-prepared. Am I correct?
We do. Yeah. And it's really case by case. It's hard to say, because it's case by case. So again, I would say that if you are eligible for the program and you are not sure if we can complete your taxes, to still contact us and our tax preparers will take a look.
Do you guys have a sense of how many you've done each of the last few years? Like, it's got to be close to 1,000 or over 1,000.
I had the numbers too yesterday.
Yeah, I would say last year, surprisingly, even with COVID-19 and us kind of having to switch gears, we served almost 1,000 in Pittsfield.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You guys do such great work.
Thank you. And that's something that I kind of want to talk about too, is that, just make sure that you're getting into us and that you're getting your taxes to us, because we want to make sure that we can complete everybody's that wants to participate in the program. And because we aren't able to meet with people face to face this year, it's going to take a little bit longer, I think, for us to get the taxes prepared. And so we don't want people to kind of be waiting until April to get us their stuff. Once you get all of your documents, just come and drop them off or participate in the virtual VITA, because we want to make sure that we have the capacity to serve everyone that wants to participate.
The sooner you get your stuff together and get it into you guys, the sooner you get your e-filed return and money in your account.
Exactly. The sooner you get your refund. So everyone should give us a call.
Yeah. Aleta, you had some numbers?
No, because I didn't pull them up, Bob. I just did LIHEAP, but I had them yesterday, but it's in my email, but I'd have to turn off. I'd have to get into my email, and I'm on the.
You guys are doing about 500 up in North County, though.
I don't think we did that many last year. Steph, off the top of your head, I think closer to 200. I think we did.
Yeah.
But I think we lost the students too with COVID. They went home. It was difficult last year, but we did get it done. We're prepared this year, probably a little more prepared because we've already went through one season.
Sure, yeah.
And we've figured out how to make it work.
Well, I think it's particularly interesting with the fuel assistance, Aleta, how you were saying that in a way, the program, is utilizing, the remote process and is even more efficient than it was last year, which is pretty hard to believe because you guys are so efficient. And they're able to, it's all about, helping people who are in need of the service, keeping people warm, as you said, and getting them the services as quickly and efficiently as you can and accurately as you can. And that's
What's
what
nice
you guys
is
do with both programs.
if you call for a new appointment, we can do it that day or within 24 hours, where in the past, when it was face-to-face, sometimes you were waiting a month to get in because we were booked solid. So we're getting people in a lot quicker. And I think people are more comfortable too.
Yeah.
Knowing that there's no human contact. Only because of COVID. I think they'd much rather sit with us.
Yeah, no, good point. I think that's a good point. That's reassuring for people, I think, to hear that you're able to do this remotely and provide, really good service, and people don't have to worry about going out and, the potential of COVID just, going out and driving over and being in the parking lot with, whatever. So I think that is very, very reassuring. What else do we want to talk about? What Steph, final thoughts on the pre-tax prep program?
Sure. I would just say, give us a call. Just if you think that you qualify for the program, make sure to give us a call. If you're planning on dropping off your taxes, it would be great to give us a call ahead of time, just so that we know that we can expect them, so that we can look for them. We have a copier outside of the Pittsfield office, and North Adams does too. So make sure to make copies of your documents. Please don't give us originals, especially of your social security card and things like that. Please make a copy. Aleta, is there anything else that you want to add about?
We should mention the copier is only out there during working hours too. So it's Monday through Thursday. And our copy is out there at 7 in the morning, and it comes in at 4 o'clock. We are closed on Fridays, and we're closed Saturday and Sunday.
That's a hard-working copiers you guys got in those two locations. But that's great.
Then you got to scrub them down every day.
Yes.
Yeah, what's that?
We have to scrub them down every day, so they're definitely clean. There's a whole process we have to go through.
Well, we're out of time. Thanks to both of you. These are great programs, and your passion and enthusiasm shows through. And to those who are joining us today and tuning into this show, we know that these programs will help you or someone you know. So please utilize these programs and tell your friends and neighbors about them. And thanks for joining us today, and be well.